Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 76 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. That's me clapping because the Yankees are back where they belong. And where they belong is in the Fall Classic. And that's where they're at this week. Yankees, after a 15-year, that's right, 15-year hiatus, they are back in the Fall Classic. The World Series. This ain't a baseball podcast, so I'm not going to go into all the matchups. And this is coming out during Game 3. How can I get even fewer watchers of Verbal Graffiti? Put it out during the World Series game. Why don't you be, man? Well, that's the release time. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to change it up. Yankees winning 5 easily. Hopefully they're not down 2-0 when this is released. I just think we got 3 power hitters. Judge, Soto, Stanton. As long as 2 of them hit, and we have our pitcher, our ace, Garrett Cole, who's been on and off all season since he came back from injury. He's 1 good, 1 bad. If he gives us 2 out of 3 good starts, and if this series does go 7, he should start 3 times, games 1, 5, and come back early game 7 if needed. But we're going to win 5, so we won't need him for that. As long as he pitches well 2 out of 3, then we get a little bit of bullpen help. Easy 5-game series, easy win. I'm not going to any of the games. I gotta admit, B-Man, standing room tickets are $1,700. That's less than I make bi-weekly, so I will not be going to Yankee Stadium, but I'll be cheering them on from somebody's living room that I invade. And I'm not afraid of Ohtani. Ooh, 50 home runs, 50 steals. Well, we bombed Japan twice during the Second World War. We were victorious in that war. We did not win World War II, America that is, to have a Japanese baseball player a few generations later come and beat America's baseball team. That is the New York Yankees. Easy win. I'm ecstatic. But again, this isn't a baseball podcast, so we're going to keep it going. Do know, though, that I am rooting for them, wearing the jersey. Bernie Williams, classic clutch hitter in Yankee playoff lore. And do not have an undershirt on. When Yankees make the World Series, it doesn't matter how frigid it is in the evenings of late October or early November. No undershirt. No undershirt. You be a man, you're a player, you have your sleeves. It doesn't matter how many goosebumps you get. You step up to the plate, you spit on the balls, you wait for your pitch, pop, and you hit it, you go yard. You go yard, left field, short porch, Yankee Stadium. Woo, woo. Get your tall boys, 24-ounce Heinekens, Bud Heavies. Let's go. $17, don't matter. We're in the World Series. I'd put it on your credit card, and Yankees, easy win, 5 games. It's about time. About time. It's been a 15-year drought, which is an eternity if you're a Yankee fan. And yeah, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm pumping my chest. I know most of the country hates us, but you hate us because we win. Because the pinstripes, there's an allure to the pinstripes. Guys just look better in the pinstripes. Not that powder blue of the Dodgers. L.A., la. Nope, New York Yankees, we're Northeast here. Sometimes when I go out, the best part of my evening is ruining other parties' evenings. Last week I was out. We were at a, not a club, but like a dive bar-ish place down below where there were no there was no windows. Some guys were playing pool. I was like, I was getting a little claustrophobic. I go, hey, let's be adults and go to the wine bar. There was a 5-year period in my life, I'd say from the age of 23 through 28, where I tried to drink wine and learn about it and like it because I wanted, because when you're that age, all the babes are starting to drink wine. This was before Trulies and White Claws became a thing. So everyone was drinking wine. So I was like, I'm going to become a wine guy so I can relate to all the babes. And after 5 years, I realized wine tastes like nail cleaner. If I've never tasted nail cleaner, but that's what I imagine it tastes like. It tastes like cheap white wine. So I'm not a wine guy, but I was like, hey, let's go to the wine bar. Maybe there are some babes there. Me and a few other comics, few of the boys, few of the guys. We go over to the wine bar. A few storefronts later, down the road, we go in there. We chatted up with some strangers. There was a comedian, a fan of the comedians there. He called me a Connecticut legend, which is if you're striving to be a national, internationally known comedian, which the B-Man is, being called a Connecticut legend is a bit of a backhanded compliment, but I deserved a backhanded compliment because I am not known nationally. So I took the compliment. We were chopping it up. And I noticed in the corner of my eye, there was a bit of a barrier in the bar, like between the bar and the restaurant area. I noticed in the restaurant area, right by the front window of the wine bar, or like right in front of it, there was a round table, 2 tables put together. There were about 8 babes, and I use that term generally. I don't know if they were hot or not. It was, again, my periphery vision, and I didn't want to get caught staring at them. But they were there. They were celebrating something. It wasn't a birthday. I didn't see all the balloons, but I'm there, and I'm chatting with my boys, the comic friends. I don't want to, blast them out their names, but I'm looking at them, and these ladies are having fun. They were enjoying their evening. There's really nobody in this bar, this establishment, other than us comic friends and that table, and it was getting near closing time. And it's just something inside of me, just because I got to go talk to those ladies and interject and make their evening awkward. And maybe it's just being a comedian where any public setting I go into, I need awkwardness. I need that you get that with stand up. So I nudged my friend. I go, hey, I'm going to go interject, find out what this is all about. And he said, wait, you're going to go up to 10 ladies while they're eating and just interrupt their conversation? I go, yeah. And without even thinking, I just went over there. I was like, what's going on here? Flat on my ass, embarrassed myself. But anyways, a few of the other comics came over. We started chatting with all of them, and they seemed to be enjoying our company. But again, when they found out we were comics, because that's the first thing comics do, is we tell you we're comics. They're like, well, tell us a joke. And then we were all telling them jokes, and basically we became their jesters, and we didn't become paid for it, and none of us got laid. But anyways, one comic, and again, I'm not going to blast out his name, one of the ladies, the patrons there, was like, well, tell us a joke. And he told her a street joke, but it was a Third Reich Holocaust joke. And the expression on her face is ruined. It has ruined the interaction between us and the babes who were enjoying their evening. And it was a white lady. It was like, she was not feeling that Holocaust joke, which most professional white women do not enjoy, do not appreciate. They get easily offended by a Holocaust joke. Some may call them a Karen. Some people think the term Karen is a slur, so I'm not going to call her a Karen. I just say she does not like off-color jokes. And as we were leaving, we were all leaving together, the guys, the girls stayed at the bar. We didn't pull any of them. We're walking down the street, and he's like, oh, man, I shouldn't have gone with the Third Reich joke. That was, there were so many other jokes I could have went with. Why did I go with that? And in that moment, I had an epiphany. The B-Man had an epiphany. It was a crisp fall evening, and I just kind of nudged him. I don't know what it was about that evening, but I was just nudging people with my elbow, left, right. I was nudging friends, pushing them along, but I had an epiphany. And I didn't even know what the epiphany was till I began to speak. I told my comic friend, I told him, don't worry about her. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, any babe who will not laugh at a Hitler joke will not let you come on her face. And he laughed and I laughed. It's like, oh yeah, she does not have a sense of humor. There's something about like a lady who won't laugh at who can't laugh at a Holocaust. She's she's an NPC. She's a normie. She doesn't, she takes life too seriously. A lady like that will not let you pop one off on her forehead. So I thought that's not the type of lady you want to be with, because you want to be with a lady who will let you pop one off on her face 40% of the sexual interactions you have. That's the percentage I put it at. So, hey, not all was lost. We laughed, we giggled. The guys, the boys, the comics. We ruined a party's evening. And sometimes crop dusting someone who's having a lovely night out with their girlfriends, sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's enough. And now we have some inside jokes to tell forever. I've done enough rambling. Let's get into something I found on Reddit. This one's a photo, so I'm going to post the photo right here, as I do here at Verbal Graffiti. If you're listening on podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, go to YouTube and you'll be able to see the photo, but I'll explain it, so I'll help you all out. This comes from the, and always, as always, please subscribe, like, share with a mistress, an ex, a pastor who may have diddled children in the past, maybe a ex-parole officer if you happen to have one of those. And remember, just share it with the degenerates of society. That is an episode of Verbal Graffiti. All right, as I keep moving my hand, why do I do that? All right, here we go. This comes from the subreddit Drunk Photo. Local bar, always an electric crowd, love it. Sometimes I like to share it with somebody. Anyways, cheers. Cheers to you. And the photo, again, if it's podcast, you're just a guy at a dive bar, wooden bar top. Right-hand corner, he's got a Budweiser bottle, Bud Heavy. He's using a coaster, so he's got some type of civility to him. But if you've been to a dimly lit dive bar, you know what this photo is if you're watching on podcast form. You ever look at a photo and be able to smell it? Because when I look at this photo, this guy's, Bud Heavy on the bar top at a dimly lit dive bar, I smell that photo. It smells like my dive bar. My favorite dive bar is Lenny's, Wallingford, Connecticut. We'll get to Lenny's a little later on. Let me describe what I'm smelling right now when I look at that photo. The B-Man, what I smell is, I smell cigarettes from the 1980s that just seeped into the wallpaper of the dive bar when you were allowed to smoke those sticks inside. And it's just seeped into the wallpaper that has not been changed since that law went into effect in the early 2000s. You could smell the domestic beer that's been spilled into the industrial carpet that you just can't get that domestic beer. You can't get it out with any kind of detergent after a certain number of times. There's just a little bit of stickiness to the floor, and you can just smell the stale domestic Miller Lite. You're being flanked by just a hint, or maybe much more than a hint of BO, body odor, flanking you from patrons to your left and your right. Because if you're drinking at a dive bar, you probably did not shower that morning. And if you did, the people to the left and right of you didn't, at least one of them. So there's always a little bit of BO. It's almost, if it's been a while since you've smelled BO, just think of Subway. Like the sandwich shop, when you drive by a Subway or walk by one, like that smell, BO has a little bit of the same smell. You go to the restroom and, there's an air freshener there, but it's 2 years expired. So the only thing that's disturbing the smell of your feces is the rubber head of the plunger right next to the toilet. And even though you could be at a dive bar in the middle of winter and it's still a little warm and sticky, and there's a little bit of humidity that kind of takes all those scents and holds them together for you into that smell that I'm smelling right now looking at this photo. and that smell is dive bar. I would, if this, the summation of all these smells, if I had to give it a title, and I will, I call this smell, the smell of dive bar, I call it a cheap liquor and forgotten dreams. That is this title of a smell of a dive bar. And my favorite dive bar, because I'm smelling Lenny's. That's what I'm smelling when I look at this photo. Lenny's, Wallingford, Connecticut. Same setup as every dive bar in America. And again, if you have foreigner friends who want to know what is America, what is it like to live in America, send them this photo. Send them this photo right now, because there is a dive bar in every county, in every town in America, the great United States of America, that is similar to this bar. And there are plenty of guys and gals with shattered dreams that they've forgotten a long, long time ago drinking there. That is Americana right there. But you go into Lenny's, there's something about drinking alone at a dive bar that makes you want to send a photo to the group chat, right? The group chat you got going. There's something about, because there is something a little bit shameful about drinking alone at a dive bar, especially if the sun is yet to set. But there's also something else. If you take a photo of it, of your beer, on the bar, and send it to your group chat, or your boys, or your friends, or whoever it may be that you talk to, there's something that takes that shame away. Like when you're not hiding what you're doing that is shameful, it does cease to be shameful because you're not hiding it. So I've sent a photo, this same exact photo, with a Bud Heavy on a bar top 100 times in my life, give or take, at least 3 times a year. I send that photo, that exact photo, to my friend Cheese and Dave. And where you at? Lenny's. You gotta send a photo. Let the boys know you're there. The dive bar is fantastic. I look at this photo and my heart goes out and it weeps for every alcoholic who's had to give up the sauce. Because if you're a recovering alcoholic and not being able to just go hide in a dive bar, or hide from sunlight and reality for a few hours while you sip on some suds and chat it up with the bartender and the locals, like not being able to do that, because you have some problems with alcohol. My heart goes out to you, because this is one of the best things of adulthood right here, is that photo and you being the one behind the person taking the camera. Learn how to speak, Brian. Learn how to speak, B-Man. The dive bar, you gotta be careful though. The dive bar, when you walk, all of us who have a dive bar and who are still living and are still able to communicate, we know, you want to be recognized at the dive bar, but you don't want to be a regular at the dive bar. And there is a significant difference between the two, and there is usually a stool that separates these two parties. Usually it's when you walk into the dive bar, the regulars are at the farthest side of the bar. There's usually like 4 or 5 stools, and whatever stool it is, you're not allowed to use one of those stools to drink your drink unless you're a regular. And I remember being when I still remembered my dreams, I'd go into these dive bars and I'd see the regulars, and they were fun. They were really fun. They had lots of stories that involved police chases and lots of hijinks and lots of laughs. But I was able to see through the stories, and I was able to see what it was to be a regular. And it was not because it was easy to see, because you could see on the regulars all have a nose that is redder than Saint Nick, and it's filled with blood vessels and blisters that that show you that they haven't had a good night's sleep in decades. And that's the thing with regulars. Like that's when you're a regular at a dive bar, that is all you have in life is that dive bar happy hour. That's all. Any regular who avoids having to be a parent and responsibility or respectful society member, they're on the far side of the bar at the dive bar, and you see the face, you see the physical toll that being a regular has, and there's always a plaque that has a folded up American flag of a regular that succumbed to alcohol. And I was able to see all this at a very early age. So while I did enjoy their stories and the laughs that came of it, it was not what I wanted to be. And that's the key with the dive bar. That is the key. You do not want to be regular. You want to be recognized. How do you be recognized, B-Man? Yeah. You go once every couple weeks, maybe once a month. Maybe you dive, head first into the dive bar. You go hard there for a few years in your younger years, but you got to get out and you got to run away and not look back. Maybe you come back every Christmas, but once you become a regular, like there's no going back. There is no going back to being recognized because you're there for life. That is your living room. It is your home. Again, that happy hour, that's all you got in life. And that's the dive bar happy hour is the recess for adults. That's what it is. And, it's a fun lifestyle till the alcohol catches up to you. And you don't really get much of it. It's not like the mafia. Really, all you get being a regular is maybe a free shot every 3 or 4 drinks, and you get a little bit more rope with the bartender, and you get a little bit more control over the jukebox, which is usually Fleetwood Mac that gets played out of 1.5 working speakers at whatever dive bar you go to. Love the photo. After this, I'm going to go to Lenny's and have a Bud Heavy. And that's another great thing about the dive bar is the drinks are cheap. Bud Heavies are usually $4. A shot of tequila, as long as it's not it should probably be $6. And a mixed drink is poured heavily, and it's anywhere between $5 and $10, depending on who the bartender is at that shift. Let's go look at some photos. Episode 76, segment 2. Had to think for a moment. What episode is this? If the Yankees in the World Series, I got to show off my Derek Jeter, the captain of the New York Yankees, baseball cards. I should probably get out some of my Bernie Williams ones too. Not sure if you can see that, but hey, they got to have them on display if the Yankees are in the World Series, the Fall Classic. Good job, Yankees. Go get that title. Go get that World Series title. Probably the worst trophy of all the major sports here in the U.S. One more thing I want to say. Some OGs of Verbal Graffiti might remember that I cracked my screen during an episode. Might have been one in the 20s. I think I broke my screen. Still have not fixed it. I've broken my screen, or like the screen protector. I think I've broken that 3 times already with this phone, and I've had it less than 2 years. I do not know how to put the screen protector on a phone. I bought one. I've had it in my room for the last 3 weeks. The Belkin Ultra Glass 2. Don't know what the fuck that is. I had this before and it broke, so it's not that good. But anyways, every time I try to put on, like you have the phone and you put on the protector, I always end up with bubbles in it, or there's dirt that got stuck. I didn't wipe it all off, or it's a little uneven. So I have this, and I've been looking for somebody who is confident enough to put on the protector on my phone. Still have not found a person. Hopefully I'll find somebody soon. I'm actually thinking about going to the phone store. I think I have Verizon. So go there and have one of the professionals put it on. I know, men, we're supposed to do tasks with our hands. That's what makes you a man. There is this misnomer out there that knowing how to fix a flat tire or how to change a flat tire, that's what makes you a man? No, hard disagree here from the B-Man. That does not make you a man. I am a man. I do not know how to change a tire. Could I learn through YouTube videos? Probably. Yes, I could, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to change the tire. I do not want to go outside in sub-freezing weather on the highway when cars are coming by, risking my own vitality, my own life to change off a flat tire to prove my manhood to society, because society is wrong. Changing your own tire does not make you a man. It's a useful skill to have. I'll give you that. If you can change the tire, is there something sexy about changing a tire? I think without giving it any thought, the obvious answer is yes. Upon reflection, and when I say reflection, it's just me thinking of it the top of my head right now. No. Changing a tire is not sexy. And I'll give you the reason why. Because I've been on the highway. I've seen guys out there on the road, on the side, on one knee, doing the things with the bolts, changing the tire. And what I've never seen is a guy change a tire, put the spare one on, and then immediately get a blowjob from a random lady who's driving by, stops the car, gives him a blowjob. Never seen that happen. And if changing the tire was that hot, that sexy, that attractive, that masculine, you think there'd be some poon out there that would want to suck him off ASAP. And I've never seen that happen, which makes me believe that is misinformation. Or what's that they call disinformation? That changing a tire, there's nothing sexy about it. You know what's sexy? I'm going to tell you what is sexy. Having AAA. Having AAA is much sexier than changing a tire on your own. Calling a guy up on a truck, having him come out to your car, waving to him and go, "Hey, change my tire." And then you just watch as he changes your tire. That's sexy. Is it a little bit of slave owner energy there? I gotta admit, yes. But it is fulfilling knowing that you paid for AAA and having somebody else do the work for you. That is sexy. The boss gets fucked more than the employee by hot babes. So having AAA is much sexier, much more masculine than changing the tire on your own. So I am looking for somebody. I'm willing to pay somebody to put on my phone screen protector on my phone, because I have failed 3 times and I have a cracked screen, and it is driving me insane when I try to watch back videos of verbal graffiti. What do you think there? Changing the tire? Yay, nay, as far as sexy and masculinity. Black Ops girl, if you're watching, let me know what you think. Let's move along. Found this one. We haven't done anything on a wedding in 5 or 10 episodes, and those are always fun. So let's get into one here. Found this on the subreddit bridezillas. I learned what that term was last year, but I digress. Let's get into the post. Should I feel guilty for skipping my friend's pricey wedding? Without even reading it, I say no, but for the sake of the episode and comedy, let's move forward. Hey, Reddit. I need some opinions because I'm feeling a little lost. My friend Karen, a 30 female, is getting married, and while I'm super happy for her, she's planning a huge destination wedding in the USA. We live in Europe. Hope to see you here. She keeps calling it her real wedding, even though there's supposed to be a smaller one in France where we can all go, but we are not invited yet. I sent a little tone with that last sentence. Here's the thing. Karen is really pushing for my boyfriend and me to go to the USA for this wedding. I've tried to explain to her that I don't have that kind of money lying around. Her solution? Start paying for flights now in small installments and figure out the rest later. Oh, what a friend. Honestly, though, I just don't have the budget, and this would eat up into my holidays for 2025, which is not really how I want to spend it. Don't get me wrong, I love her and would be so happy to see her on her big day, but Is it me, or are brides becoming total bridezillas with these crazy demands? It's not just you. Do we really have to change all our plans because it's their year? Why do so many weddings now feel like a massive financial burden on the guests? Karen doesn't seem to understand why I'm hesitating, and she keeps pushing us to get the tickets, and I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm even asked her about a second, more local celebration, but she brushed it off and kept insisting on the USA wedding. Am I being unreasonable for wanting to skip this whole destination wedding thing? Out of everything you've written there and posted on Reddit, nothing has changed my opinion. You are completely in the right here. Your friend asking you, almost demanding that you fly overseas to her destination wedding here in the United States. No, you are within your right to say no. You got to understand, most people, and I believe you're in this most people group, they have enough money, enough funds to maybe go on one vacation a year, perhaps two, if you're doing really, really well in life. And an international trip, that your friend is asking you to waste one of your vacations, maybe your one vacation a year, to go to her wedding. And let me point this out. This supposed friend, you're not even on her bride's list, a backup list. Like, you're not even a bridesmaid. So are you really her friend? I think not. This is what you should do. The thing that bothers me the most about your friend who's getting married in the USA and multiple times and multiple destinations is her telling you what to do. It's like when you told her, like, hey, I don't have that kind of money lying around, which none of us like to admit. So it put you in an uncomfortable spot. And then her response to that, Bridezilla's response is, hey, just buy the ticket now and put it in small payments and put it on credit and pay the minimum and then pay the interest afterwards, year after year. That irritates me. That's infuriating. It's like, hey, fuck money. Just put it on credit. It's interest. It doesn't matter. It's like she's fucking up your life, your savings for her big day. That response from her is where I would be questioning the friendship. I'd be going through every time we've ever spent together, every call, every meal, and really dissecting it and really trying to come to an understanding of how I even thought this lady was a friend in the first place. Like a response like that. This is not enough for you now just not to go to the wedding. It's time for you to be spiteful. What you have to do is say you're going to go to wedding. Respond. You're like, yes. When the card comes, say, yes, I'll come, and I'll have the chicken cutlet with soup and do a no-show. Don't even go to the U.S. It's just no show. Make them pay for the plate without you giving a present to them. And what you want to do is take it even a step further. When you no show during the wedding, do something really fun with your boyfriend and post stories so that the bridezilla will see it, because she'll be looking at her phone during the ceremony because she's a modern day twat, these 21st century babes and fellas who look at their phone all the time. She's going to be scrolling through her phone at her own wedding to look at photos of her friends that have posted photos of her in their dress when all she has to do is look in a mirror. What a twat. So she's going to be scrolling through her phone thinking you're at the wedding, but you're not. You're hiking with your boyfriend, or you're making a homemade dinner together. And she's going to see the story and see the date and put two to two together. And she's going to go, that bitch. But you're not the bitch. She's the bitch. So that's how you get at her. Or if you even want to be a little bit more sinister, and I suggest you be as sinister as your soul will let you be. On her wedding day, you post photos of Bridezilla when she was Let's see. You can go either way. Like if she used to be heavier than she is now, post photos of when she was just a fat potato, or if she used to be hotter than she is now, post photos of when she was really hot before she gained all the weight, or post a photo of her and her ex, especially if her ex is better looking than her fiance, husband on the wedding day, or if you want to be even more conniving, and we suggest being as conniving, be conniving. Try to sabotage this wedding because she's bridezilla to the 10th degree. What you want, try to break up the wedding. If you know she's cheated on her husband to be, give that information to a Raven and send it to the U.S. and let it be known the day before the wedding eve, so that it blows up the whole wedding and the guy walks out. Or if you've had a conversation with her on the phone where she's bitching about her husband and how he has ED and how he's not as good a fuck as Johnny was back in, I don't know, whatever fucking club in London you were at, where they fucked in a bathroom stall after they only knew each other after 15 minutes. They record that phone call and have a Raven send it to the fiance so that he sees it and causes conflict before they even get married. That's what I want you to do. I don't know if you have that in you, but I hope you can find it and send it to her. And fuck this lady in her wedding, this bridezilla. She does not deserve your friendship. And even if you do succumb to her badgering and you do go to this wedding, like if she was a real friend of yours and she was a real friend, she would understand the spot she's putting you in. Like, hey, come to another country, spend $4,000, get a few nights in a hotel. When you said, hey, the money's a little tight right now, I don't really have the extra funds to be able to do that. She should have said, if she was a real friend of yours, an OG, a day one, ride or die, she'd be okay, fine. And then she would surprise call you during the reception of the USA wedding, wave to you, have a nice quick conversation. You put the phone up, see everyone dancing. You could cry like, oh my God, it's your big day. Why are you wasting it calling me? I love you. I wish I could be there. Boom, boom. If she was a real friend, that's what she would have done. And actually, you probably would have more FaceTime with her during a FaceTime call during the wedding reception than if you and your boyfriend go to the actual wedding and are there physically. Because when you think about, like, if you're not a bridesmaid, how much interaction, pronunciate your words, Brian, yes. How much interaction, face-to-face, talk time, are you going to have with this bridezilla friend of yours on her wedding day? Probably fewer than 5 minutes. They'll have the wedding. You'll hug her after the ceremony. Oh, you look beautiful. The dress, even though she's probably slutty, showing a lot of cleavage with her terrible arm tattoos. I'm just guessing this is the type of lady it is. And then you're not going to talk to her during cocktail hour because she'll be separated, taking photos with her husband, her newlywed, who she probably cheated on during the bachelorette party and sucked off a couple strippers there at your Airbnb. And, they'll probably be divorced within 3 years. So you're not going to talk to her then. And during the reception, the music will be blasting, eating. The only time you'll really talk to her is when her and her newlywed are walking from table to table, thanking everybody for coming. And what does that conversation consist of? She's going to come to your table. She's going to say, oh, thank you so much for coming from Europe all the way here to the U.S., even though I kind of badgered you into coming. She won't mention that part. And all you're going to talk about is your flight, any kind of turbulence it was, how's the hotel, I'm so happy, you'll be talking about the weather, what time are you leaving tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be all small talk, and then she'll be on to the next table, and you're not even going to have a real conversation with her. And you and your boyfriend, your boy toy that you fuck over there in Europe, you're not even going to be able to enjoy the open bar because your flight probably leaves back to Europe at 6 a.m. the next morning. So you're not going to be able to drink and tear it up on the dance floor because you got to, get back to the airport. So, you get 52 weekends a year. Do not waste one of those weekends on a friend's destination wedding all the way across the pond. You get 52 of those. You got to hold on to those. You got to hold on to those tightly. You're an adult. Don't let bridezilla badger you. And my rule, we'll probably delve into this in more detail in future episodes, but we're running a little long right now. My rule when it comes to weddings is I only go to 2 weddings maximum per year. Any more than that, nope. There's a list. If there's more than 2, I make a list, like who's most important to me. If you don't make the list, like that's them the rules, buddy. I only go to 2. That's my rule, and I can't break it because I'm a goody two-shoe. I don't break rules. So yeah, you're not my top 2, Derek Jeter. So I really hope you don't go in and go to that wedding. We're going to continue reading The Salesman's Wife by John Lawrence, the great author, published date 1977. If you're reading along, we're on the top of page 19. We'll read 2 pages. Alan looked down angrily at his wife's tightly resisting asshole. He grunted savagely, pushing his huge, hot penis in further and farther as she screamed with pain. She tried again to escape, but he gripped her flesh more tightly, digging his nails into the tender whiteness of her hips and embedding his thick, blood-engorged cock even deeper into her tightly throbbing interior. Ah! She wailed like a wounded animal, her head thrown back in pain. Finally, he had buried his desire-hardened tool up to the hilt and began to fuck her slowly in and out, each sodomizing thrust widening the straining, burning, elastic channel and easing his illicit entry. I'll fuck this nonsense right out of her, he taught viciously. He was tired of waiting for her to respond night after night. He was being cheated of his rights as a husband, and his rage-numbed mind exulted in triumph. He fucked more and more savagely, increasing his tempo, as his lewdly dangling ball slapped wetly at the moist flesh of her vaginal slit. Pamela felt it as she was being ripped apart by a flaming poker, torn to shreds by the hot iron shaft of her husband's penis. He pumped his hips back and forth unmercifully. His wife screamed in pain. His hard, thick piston rammed in and out of the tight, bruised walls of her back passage. Nothing could stop him now. He fucked her like a madman, his eyes bulging with lurid excitement, his body straining for release. Pamela had never felt such pain in her life. I can't bear it, she thought, no more. I'll be destroyed like a helpless animal being clawed by an outraged lion. No! Her thrashing body and piercing cries only increased Alan's wild, savage thrusts. He grunted and heaved, his body racked with turbulent mixture of rage and lust. He buried his thick, blood-gorged cock deeper and deeper. Take it, he shouted. Stop cringing and take it. Alan, please, she moaned. But suddenly, as the torturous punishment reached its apex, her body felt as if it would be consumed with flames of pain. A strange new feeling began to ripple through the subjugated young wife. Out of the humiliation and shame came an unexpected feeling of sensuality and warmth. It was as if she were melting, and her body was bathed in voluptuous waves of pleasure that made the pain seem bearable. It was hard to believe, yet it was true. Go suck a fat one.